Hello, I am so happy to be here today talking with you about Dynamics 365 for Talent and how we're helping to empower employees and HR professionals to transform human resources. Now, Microsoft Dynamics 365 is part of the Business Applications platform. And while my colleagues had the pleasure of talking about customers and products, I get to talk to you about people and how we're helping impact employees and their digital transformation experience. Now, Dynamics 365 for Talent is part of the Business Application platform, which is our transformational platform for delivering these engaging employee and business transformation experiences. And underneath, we're able to leverage the capabilities of Power BI, Power Apps, and Flow to complete your digital transformation. But now I want to take a step back and talk about some of the trends that we're seeing in the human capital management marketplace. Now, one thing that's becoming increasingly important is culture, and how culture is becoming a key component as companies are looking to hire, develop, and retain their employees. In addition, you can't talk about HR without talking about the war on talent. It is tremendously expensive and difficult to be able to find the best talent in the marketplace and to be able to bring them to your organization. We also have an evolving workforce, and as part of that, the workforce is going global and huge expectations about a move to mobility. Employees want to be able to deal with all of their daily tasks on the run, on a mobile device, as well as human resources professionals and hiring managers. Another key component that we're seeing as part of these trends is an appreciation for collaboration, and how collaboration is a key component in how employees are getting work done as part of their workflow. And last but not least, and as we've been talking about in the keynote and in all of the other videos, is the importance of digital transformation. And we're now seeing a move and importance of digital transformation for HR professionals. And the pressure on these HR professionals is growing. Now, the great news is they're getting a seat at the table. They're able to be part of those C-suite conversations and have the opportunity to be a true business partner. But that means they need the tools to be able to be more strategic, to have the insights into what's going on in their organization, and to be able to really be a business partner to employees and HR managers. But the expectations on the other end for employees is continuing to grow. Employees are expecting those mobile experiences. They're expecting to be engaged. They want to have a learning and development culture. And so this puts a lot of pressure on our HR professionals. And there are a number of key components that rise to the top for those HR leaders. The first is really about creating aligned and personalized talent experiences. It's really not just about one size fits all, but making sure for each employee that they have a career development path and a learning path that helps them grow and develop. It's also increasingly important when you're hiring employees into your organization to make sure it's not just about skills and competencies, but are they the right culture fit for your organization? Now, we talked about hiring. Hiring is certainly top of mind for HR professionals. And as part of that is quickly getting those new hires on board, quickly getting them through the hiring process. And then once they're there, helping getting them onboarded and engaged and part of that organization and effectively as quickly as possible. And how can these are HR professionals, drive success for talent within their organization, making sure they have the tools and the capabilities to help their employees grow and find their next opportunities, ideally within the organization. And underscoring all of this is giving those HR professionals and the managers insights and analytics to really be a strategic partner to their business professionals on the other hand. Now, how do we help? Well, with Dynamics 365 for Talent. And as part of this, we put people at the center. So if you think about the hiring workflows, making sure that candidates have a really incredible experience. If you think about hiring managers and employees, making sure that they're empowered and engaged and have the tools to get their jobs done. And then for HR professionals, making sure that they have the analytics, insights, and capabilities to help manage across these workflows and really have those strategic conversations with their business partners. So now we want to talk about 3 key scenarios that talent helps unlock. And I'm going to invite 3 of my colleagues to talk about some of the problems, the solutions, and demonstrate how we help solve these business challenges for our HR leaders.
Our first scenario is around hiring. The competition for talent is fierce across all industries. Talent shortages are placing a renewed focus on culture and employer brand. HR leaders need to create a compelling employer brand to attract candidates and streamline the hiring process to serve hiring managers and the business. It's imperative to cultivate talent pipelines that shorten the time to fill high-priority roles. This requires a tighter partnership with IT as HR delves into the HCM architecture to ensure they have the right technology, programs, and processes to deliver a faster fill rate with the right candidates while still lowering the cost to hire. Archaic and complex HCM systems are leaving much to be desired. At many companies, the hiring process is not structured and happens haphazardly. Sourcing is often passive, involving posting a fairly bland advertisement or job description and waiting until one receives enough applicants to warrant a viable applicant pool. Then a host of unstandardized resumes are emailed to the hiring manager, leading to days or even weeks of screening time depending on the number received. Finally, unstructured interviews are conducted that often more akin to casual conversations than job-related discussions. And because they're unfocused, it results in much more time being invested than is truly necessary. The result is delayed hiring decisions, bad hiring decisions, rejected offers, and a lack of compliance to stringent hiring requirements. Today's candidates are looking for positions at companies where they can make an impact and do their best work. A disconnected candidate experience has a poor reflection on your brand and your culture. The complexity of current systems prevents managers, interviewers, and candidates from having the information they need during the recruiting and hiring process. While IT works to ensure the HCM systems are up and running smoothly, HR looks for point solutions that will actually be used. It's time to innovate talent acquisition. This requires a tight partnership between IT and HR. When IT and HR come together, it's a collaborative hiring process that's intuitive for candidates, managers, interviewers, and recruiters. Hiring managers get the insights and visibility required to build high-performance teams that deliver results. Candidates are treated like VIPs and have a positive perception of your company, even if they don't get hired. I'm going to turn it over to Michelle Gleason to talk about how Dynamics 365 for Talent can help you achieve these goals.
Thanks, Michelle. With Dynamics 365 for Talent Attract, we're enabling HR and employees alike to contribute to building HR success. Attract is designed to create the best possible experience, whether you're a recruiter, a candidate, or a hiring manager. Each user has a different focus and needs throughout the hiring process. I'm going to take you through a sampling of some of the primary capabilities in our product. Every business has its unique strengths, weaknesses, and differentiators. An operating model where all processes are geared to support the company vision and direction is critical, starting from the beginning with hiring the right talent to do the right job. Attract comes with an easy, out-of-the-box hiring process that businesses can use to get going on hiring quickly. However, they can also take advantage of Talent's configurable hiring process to tailor their process to a hiring approach that's right for the company and at the level that makes sense for your business, be that implementing one tailored process across the entire company, scaling a process to a group of positions. For example, the process for an intern might be much more abbreviated than for a full-time employee. Or finally, creating a distinctive hiring process for an individual job. In addition to tailoring the process itself, customers can create activities within the process applicable to different kinds of jobs. For example, you might want to have a technical assessment for developers that might not apply to other positions. Hiring good talent starts with creating a strong talent pool to consider. Within Attract, we're focused on increasingly expanding our integration with LinkedIn to create a seamless experience for recruiters. With the release this spring, we'll be expanding from surfacing candidate information in Attract to integrating the job application process, and also recruiters will be able to export their top candidates from LinkedIn directly into Attract so that they can have them included for further consideration. As Michelle discussed earlier, the candidate experience is one of increasing importance as it increasingly becomes a reflection of a company's brand and can factor very strongly into job decisions or company brand after the fact. Attract helps you put your best foot forward to create a seamless, transparent experience for candidates from the moment they apply. Candidates are engaged throughout the process the way they prefer, through email notifications, through the central candidate portal, or through their candidate mobile application. Through these experiences, candidates can check back at any time to see their status or whether they have any outstanding tasks or requests to complete. At the same time, the hiring manager and recruiter can check back to see the results directly in Attract. One of the pain points we commonly hear about is the difficulty of managing the logistics of setting up multiple calendars, internal and external, as well as coping with the changes that invariably come up at the last minute. Our advanced interview scheduling capabilities handle all of these logistics, freeing recruiters and hiring managers to focus on candidate quantity and helping to speed the time to hire. The scheduler allows you to first get input from the candidates on their optimal timing, candidate first, and then proposes the optimal interview schedule based on the interviewers you've included and the parameters you've defined. It could be online, in person, single day. All of this powered through our deep integration with Office 365, and then that schedule can be published outward. New options coming this spring include expanded abilities to iterate on the schedule with features that allow you to propose alternate times, make changes to the schedule with notifications to the impacted parties, and more. Finally, Attract is also designed with the interviewer in mind, with a mobile application making it incredibly easy to provide feedback quickly and ensure a common format across all interviewers. Now I'll turn it over to Lydia to give us a demo of the product.
Thanks, Michelle. So now let's understand how, using Dynamics 365 for Talent, we can solve some of these problems for our customers. I'm going to take you through a hiring process from the perspective of myself as a hiring manager for a data science team. I'm a data scientist hiring manager, and I've been allocated a vacancy. And what that typically means is before I can actually go ahead and start the recruitment process, I have to wait for HR to have the time to go in, set up the job, and post it out to a job website. When I'm dealing with these high-quality candidates, I don't want to wait. I want to get ahead, start my hiring process so that I can find the candidate before my competitor does. So within Dynamics 365 for Talent, I'm empowered as a hiring manager to go ahead and set up this position myself, push it out to a job website so that I can start that hiring process. On screen, we can see I've come into Talent, into the Attract module, and I've started to set up my vacant position. I've recorded details like job details, the job description and the location, the hiring team, who's actually going to be involved in the process with me, my specific hiring process, and in this case, when I'm hiring a data scientist, I've included a pre-assessment before I meet them face-to-face, and finally, I'm going to be able to post it out to LinkedIn. That job will now appear within LinkedIn where my candidates can see it and begin to apply. My recruiter can then come directly into LinkedIn Recruiter where they can see who's applied for the position, whether they're already captured in Talent, and any other potential matches for the position who they can go ahead and actually encourage to apply for that position. Once a candidate applies, they're going to appear straight within Dynamics 365 for Talent, where I can go in as a hiring manager and start to review their profile. I can see on screen their LinkedIn profile, and I can see any information that's been recorded during the recruitment process so far under the team activities. As I mentioned before, as part of my interview process, I've decided to include an assessment that I want Cameron to fill in before we actually meet face-to-face. I've come into Gauge within Dynamics 365 for Talent, and I've set up a group of questions that Cameron can complete when he's available. To do this, Cameron will log into one portal, and all of his future interactions will be via that portal.
I think that part is so great because a lot of times now people are getting smart with the way they apply for a job, and you go and you look at the job description and then you immediately tailor your resume in order to match. So the ability to ask questions through assessment help you begin to really compare people apples to apples.
Absolutely, and it means that by the time I and my team actually meet up with the candidate, we actually know whether there's a baseline of ability there. And I don't want to waste my interview team's time by bringing in candidates who actually don't have the ability or skill set that we need for this position. So I've gone ahead and I've created that assessment. Cameron has filled it in, and then when he's completed it, we can actually receive the results, have them marked automatically so that we're then only meeting the candidates who do meet our specific standards. Once Cameron's completed the assessment, it's now time to go ahead and actually schedule an interview to meet him face-to-face. This is a problem that we've identified where a lot of time is spent on interviewing. In Microsoft alone, we have 100 vendors who are responsible for scheduling interviews for our assessments, and that's a lot of time spent going into Outlook calendars, finding availability, and actually trying to match that up. And I know as a hiring manager that it's very common for me to have a schedule placed within my diary when I'm actually not available. And that means I have to reject that interview and have further delays. So what we can do using Dynamics 365 for Talent is highlight the interview team, choose the interview date based on a suggestion that either we have made or the candidate has requested via the portal, and then in real time we can look at the availability. That will then come back to me and present me with the best time to meet the candidate that matches everyone's availability. If last minute there are any changes to schedules, we can use the people cards from Office 365 within Dynamics 365 for Talent to suggest an alternative or a different availability. Once my interview team has met with Cameron, it's time to get their feedback. And everybody can come to one common place within Talent to record that feedback and view the feedback of their counterparts. For Cameron, he was definitely a match. He was the outstanding candidate and we want to go ahead and offer him the position. So what we're going to do, using offer management within Dynamics 365 for Talent, we're going to, using our template functionality, generate that offer for him and share it with him via the portal that he's been using for initial applications and assessments and interview scheduling. He can receive his offer, sign it electronically, and we can go ahead and get him onboarded so that he can start to deliver value within our organization.
Hiring is just the beginning. Business success requires talent success. Foster engagement and growth to create a more responsive digital workplace that empowers employees to do their best work, drives productivity, and increases job satisfaction. Gallup estimates that actively disengaged employees cost the U.S. alone up to $605 billion each year in lost productivity. Imagine the global impact. Talent engagement starts even before day one. People and their managers often complain of incomplete processes, which means delayed access to services and the things that are needed to execute on job tasks. It takes far more time to get people productive than it should. There are often soft measures too. New hires often complain that they feel like aliens and that they're invisible to teammates and they don't know who to work with. Meanwhile, HR is on the hook due to the fact that many new hires leave out of frustration in the first 60 days, and that rate continues to climb. It's IT's job to make sure that new hires are provisioned and have the right equipment to do their job. So HR and IT really need to work together to engage employees from before day one and ignite talent success. Imagine that worrying about the logistics of onboarding new hires is a thing of the past. Provisioning, training, familiarizing, and acquainting the new hire with the new environment is an easy task to accomplish even without the classic human factor. The hiring manager and HR will have visibility into the indicators that are needed to help assess whether a new hire is integrating into the teams, whether they feel welcome, and whether they're ready to be impactful. Can also tell if they're a good fit within your culture and ensure that they're happy and ready to be successful at your company. When IT partners with HR to build a collaborative onboarding program, the result is successful employees that drive business impact. Michelle's going to walk us through how Dynamics 365 for Talent can help you onboard your new hires and get them impactful as quickly as possible.
You've done the work to sift through all the talent available to identify the best fit for your role and successfully landed their acceptance. Congratulations. Onboard helps you go the last mile, bringing them in the door by building a first-run experience that accelerates their time to impact and enables hiring managers to create high-performance teams. Onboard starts with a standardized onboarding experience that lets you define key activities as well as resources and contacts relevant to onboarding your new hire. However, if this doesn't suit, Onboard is also flexible enough to allow you to create your own onboarding process for many different positions or just one and save them for use with either one person or a group of people. If you've already got a process in place, get started quickly by importing it into Onboard. Finally, Onboard allows you to track the completion of your new hire's onboarding process as well, so you can get engaged additionally as needed. Onboarding is much more effective as a team sport, leveraging the expertise of many to build the ideal experience. For example, perhaps a sales partner would recommend that your new hire talk to specific people on their team to learn more about the current landscape and pipeline. Onboard also allows you to invite others to contribute to your new hire's welcome experience. Additionally, not all elements of onboarding should be completed by your new hire, so Onboard allows you to assign activities for onboarding to other members of the team. Think about something like getting an office assigned or a piece of equipment ordered. Not your new hire that's performing that, but critical to their onboarding. If you're not sure where to start with your onboarding journey, Onboard also includes a number of sample templates to help you get a jump start.
Okay, so let's understand how using Onboard, we can give Cameron the greatest first start to his career in our organization. As Michelle mentioned, it's really easy to set up templates within Dynamics 365 for talent. This means where it's appropriate, we can standardize messages and tasks that need to be completed when Cameron joins the team. On screen, we can see I've started with a simple introduction message that Cameron will receive when he opens up the portal. Next, I've chosen some activities. And as we mentioned, these can be tasks specifically allocated to Cameron, but they can also be for other members of the team as well. We divided this into two areas, before you start and after you start. And that means for Cameron, before he joins the organization, he can log in with his personal email address and see which tasks he needs to start to complete. Once he's onboarded and he's actually received his corporate email address, he can log in with that and see further tasks that he needs to complete during the first few weeks in the organization.
And I would remember, this isn't just for someone who's new to the organization. This could be someone who's just joining your individual team, or even someone who's joining a project and just needs to be ramped up on what's going on and who are the right contacts and what do I need to know.
Definitely. I think there's lots of scenarios where we'd want to use this. We can allocate tasks, as we said, to Cameron and also to other members of the team as he changes role to make sure that they are completed. And anyone can then log into the tool when they've been allocated a task, see where they're at, and start to mark them off as completed. I'm also going to identify some contacts for Cameron so that before he joins the organization, he can actually reach out to these people and start to understand who he's going to work with in the organization. That could be people like his manager, his buddy, his mentor, or maybe other individuals who work in similar roles to him so he can understand more about what's expected to achieve success in that role. And finally, I can share any resources. That could be a map to show the location of the office. It could be a video about company culture, or it could be any other documents we want him to view and maybe sign electronically. So what does this look like for Cameron? Here we can see the portal from Cameron's perspective. He's logged in with his personal email address, and he can start to work his way through the various tabs that we've set up and gradually work his way through the tasks, completing them so that we know exactly where he's up to in the process. And this means for Cameron, he only has to go to one place to view information and complete tasks. And for our hiring team, they can see directly where he is in the process, the tasks he has completed and which ones are outstanding, so that when he joins on his first day, we know exactly where he's at and what we need to contribute to so that he can achieve success in the organization.
With your top talent hired and onboarded, it's time to inspire them to deliver their best work. It's HR's job to create a culture that not only promotes talent engagement and agility, but also empowers leaders, teams, and employees to do impactful work that delivers sustainable business results. Strategic HR models were first introduced over 20 years ago, and yet many HR teams continue to struggle with new mandates. Focusing on strategic initiatives such as culture, alignment to business impact, innovation, and employee retention seems daunting when they're still tackling efficiency and cost reduction projects. HR leaders are struggling to scale and shift from a primary focus on the administration of employees, where compliance regulations drove restrictive policies and a rigid one-size-fits-all approach. They lack the analytical insights that are necessary because their systems are disconnected and data resides in silos. IT is already strained with big data projects and trying to pull together financial information for the business. Often, HR projects are put on the back burner, and the end result is leaders' employees don't have the tools they need. When IT and HR partner to provide a connected talent experience, people are empowered to deliver extraordinary customer outcomes, and sustainable business results will follow. With a connected, compliant, and extensible HR platform, HR can scale by empowering employees with the right tools to own their careers, their engagement, and continuous learning. HR can then focus on aligning programs to business imperatives and ensuring employees have the right competencies to deliver customer outcomes. Michelle is going to tell us about how our core HR product can help you deliver on these goals.
The core HR capabilities of Talent focus on ensuring that the engine underpinning all of your HR operations is running smoothly, enabling HR managers to focus on strategy, while giving managers the tools they need to build high-performance teams. Core HR covers all of your administrative HR bases, including managing your organizations, compensation and benefits, including open enrollment and managing for life events, as well as enabling integration to payroll providers with both a generic endpoint as well as purpose-built integration to Ceridian Dayforce. But let's touch briefly on a few more areas. HR is all about managing your people, so having a view of your employees is critically important. Talent provides a unique perspective of your employees, enriching profiles with Office 365 and LinkedIn data to give you a 360-degree view of their experiences, past and present. Life happens, and maintaining a healthy balance between work and life is an important part of keeping your workforce motivated. While HR focuses on the right programs to build for employees, Core HR does the heavy lifting of managing the processes behind it and surfacing insights to make it better in a way that makes sense for your business. So define leave and absence plans that fit your business, enroll employees one at a time or as a group, and then manage usage with workflow, managing time off requests, and the ability to track time off balance. Self-service is a super important part of the HR ecosystem. The self-service capabilities in Core HR give managers and employees a single location to easily manage their career path and goals. Employees can update personal information, view upcoming courses and reviews, and evaluate compensation. And managers can view team summaries and find information related to positions, compensation, and performance goals of each team member, and do activities such as proactively maintaining profiles to set goals, track performance, or manage career paths, promote productivity and responsiveness anytime, anywhere with mobile access. And Talent also has the tools to help you enable your people to have a productive, fulfilling careers. What that is unique to each employee. Help employees on this path by creating unique performance goals and managing continuous improvement and learning with Talent. As employees develop, managers can take the initiative to recommend employees for promotions. Finally, Embedded People Insights helps you understand critical HR metrics and improve your workforce planning so you can make more informed decisions about your organization. Power BI dashboards bring your data to life, helping you to visualize and analyze your data with the ability to drill in with a few quick clicks. Now Lydia will take us on a test drive of some of the functions for Core HR.
Okay, brilliant. So let's understand what this looks like from the perspective of our employee. Once I've joined an organization, I want to be able to go to one simple place to manage all of my HR processes. And that, in this case, is employee self-serve. I can come here to manage all of my interactions, whether that's day-to-day things like requesting annual leave, whether it's signing up for benefits, and also everything revolving around performance. I'm in employee self-serve, and what I want to do to begin with is capture entries in my performance journal. Any interactions I have that I think would be worth noting can be recorded here ad hoc so that we can then contribute those towards my review during review periods.
I think that's great because I don't know about you guys, but when I make it to the time of the annual performance review, I have to go back and remember all of the great things I did throughout the year. So being able to do it on an ad hoc basis helps you have a more purposeful conversation with your manager.
Definitely. I think it makes it easier to highlight where you've been performing above and beyond the expectations of the role, especially if we're interested in promotions or progressing within the organization. So I can come in, and in this case, I've recorded some training that I attended, but it could be interactions with my colleagues or maybe some certifications that I've completed. When it comes round to review period, whether that's on a set basis or ad hoc, I can then come into Talent and capture this with my manager. And I can really start to take ownership. We can agree goals that I need to complete over the coming period. I can review my performance journal and understand where I have achieved and where there might be room for growth. And I can make sure we have really clear goals that I need to complete during the coming period if I want to be achieving success in the organization. And that extends further. It's not just about my performance, it's about the performance of my colleagues. And where someone is helpful, I want to be able to share that with their managers to contribute to their success. And here we can see on screen, I've shared some feedback with a colleague after we've interacted. So what we're really doing here with employee self-serve is allowing the employee to take control of their development, allowing them to ensure they're setting clear goals so that they continue to progress in the organization, and meaning that I'm responsible for my own destiny rather than expecting HR to lead that for me.
Now that you've seen the product in action, I'd invite you to go to the Dynamics 365 for Talent website and start a free trial so that you can get your hands on the product and give it a try for yourself.